I did 2 years door-to-door sales, and I went into recruitment, and recruitment is very much a competitive space, even within a company. So you're competing with the person next to you, and that's where I'm trying to make sure I'm the other end of the scale, that we compete as a team, and our success comes as a team, our failure comes as a team, and that's what I'm trying to drive.
Hey everybody, we're back for another episode of 0 to 1, a show where we talk to sales leaders about sales culture. And my guest today is Ollie Sharpe, VP Revenue EMEA at Salesloft. Welcome, Ollie.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being on the show. I want to jump right into the topic at hand. You joined Salesloft quite recently. Could you tell us a little bit about what makes the sales culture there unique?
Well, there's a lot that makes it unique, and one thing just to understand is I left LinkedIn after 10 years, which is a company that really has a fantastic set of culture within the company. So one thing that was very important to me in my next move was finding a company with that prides itself on its culture. I remember deciding for myself that I either join the company even has a culture they're proud of, or a culture that I can help to build. And luckily with Salesloft, I came across a company that is very proud of its culture in Atlanta. They've won a number of awards for it. And what normally comes down to with a company is a company that has core values that aren't just written on the wall and nobody actually lives by. That's shows, and LinkedIn were like this, that they actually live by their culture and values. And Salesloft as well, we live by our core values, such as glass half full and put the customer first. And when decisions are made around core values, it means that the culture is, there's consistency of the culture. And after meeting everybody, how welcome I was made to feel when I joined the company was unbelievable. And I can safely say that I've landed on my feet with a company with a fantastic culture that I can replicate over here in the UK and EMEA.
That's amazing. Congratulations. And just in terms of what that culture looks like in the sales teams day to day at Salesloft, what are some of the elements that are where you really see it shine?
Well, it's hard to be specific with that, because really what it is in our interview process, we have part of the process that is purely for a culture interview. So we have a panel of people internally that have been trained on how to interview around culture. So we have a consistency across the team, which we know they are a culture fit stroke culture add. And I think that's a very important thing to think about, not just culture fit, because you don't want everybody to be exactly the same, but culture add at the same time. So the way that we act as a team in regards, at the moment, we've gone through this difficult process of moving some accounts over to EMEA, even though we were brought on in the US. And it's just great to see our team working as one team to make sure that we're putting the customer first in our decisions of how we manage these and how we do the handover process. So it's everyone is the same in regards to, or similar in regards to the way that we are goal driven, but also we are more of a collaborative team culture than other cultures as I've seen them in the past. So it is hard to answer because it's just general feel of everybody within the organization. I set out to build a team that fits with our culture, but also everybody brings along their own superpower. So everybody is different. Even when we go out socializing, you can see the differences between us, but we all have one common thing, which is the way that we fit into our culture.
All right, thanks. That was really clear. And just on that notion that you're bringing of culture add, I was curious if that was done quite organically and just based on the candidates that you're meeting and thinking already this will be a nice addition to the team's culture, or do you have some specific values or attributes that you're actively seeking out and thinking, right, I need to really balance the team. I need to find someone whose superpower would be this.
Yeah, I think it was very, it's done on purpose. I think that one of my learnings from when I started as a leader was I didn't do that. I made a mistake. I went for a cookie cutter approach that my team were very similar to each other. And that doesn't add the benefits of having a diverse team with diverse thoughts from different people and ideas. So I learned the hard way, and I made a specific effort this time when I was looking at if I had 4 people for 2 roles. I made sure they were a good fit for the culture, but then I'd think about, okay, what does this person bring to the team or the culture that no one else brings, that we don't have in anybody else? And that's what made, I think, my recruitment this time so enjoyable to do. And when you look at the team, how they interact with each other, and when one of them realizes that so-and-so over on the other side of the room, his special power is doing X, Y, and Z, that they're going to them, and it just makes us stronger, but we still have the commonality of our core values that we all are aligned with at the same time.
That's something that you've spoken on quite a bit, actually, is the mental side of the game, and how sales is obviously about performance and about driving revenue, but the conditions for success are played out almost on a psychological level for each member of the team. I'm wondering, how do you create a sales culture that supports that?
So I think that when it comes to the mental side of it, there's parts of the role that are parts of sales that if we understand, we can help the levels of stress we go through. And so like Q4 and things, that when things get tough, how do we react to those? And it's becoming resilient. And there's a great book by Dr. Steve Bull, who is a sports psychologist. He's worked with a great British Olympics team. And he's put together a mental toughness model, which actually looks at the 4 types of things that happen in any work environment that are actually more prone in the sales environment that help us cope with those, like this turnaround toughness. When things go bad for us, how do we react to that? So understanding how we can cope with them ourselves is important, but also building the culture within an organization that helps people keep on top of their job, be engaged, but also not let the stress get to them, because let's be honest, there's more important things in life than our jobs. I probably got too stressed about hitting target until about 4 or 5 years ago, when my wife was diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately. But my boss at the time, and she's all right now, but my boss at the time was very supportive in getting me to think about that my wife is the most important thing, and once I've looked after her, then my family are the next most important. Then the next thing is myself, making sure that I'm in the right mindset. And if I've ticked all of those boxes, then I should do some work, or can do some work. So building that culture within an organization, which I've sort of put into 5 areas, which is about making sure it's inclusive and people can feel that they belong. Creating an open and honest culture where people can talk about their issues. It's not a problem to turn up one day and have other things on your mind. And we all have our own stresses, and the worst thing we can do is keep it inside. Creating a good work-life balance within an organization so that people can go do the things that they enjoy. And that comes very much down to Schwartz and Law's, their performance pyramid, where they talk about making sure that you put in the rituals in place around spiritual, emotional, mental and physical capacities, so your body and your mind perform at their best. Also, people understanding what's important, like I said about my experience, and also having a purpose. Companies that sales teams are not just coming in and doing their day-to-day chores every day, but having a purpose that's leading to a bigger purpose, whether of the company or the good of the world around us, makes a big difference about how motivated we are, but also how happy we are in our roles. So that to me is more around the culture, but then I think leadership have a role to play in this, because we can build a culture and we can ruin a culture. And to me, it's all about being human, approachable, and leading by example. And that's what we should think of as leaders, to make sure we're building the right cultures to reduce the levels of stress and anxiety within our teams. But also, people perform best when they're at their happiest, and that's when they've got a good culture around them with a purpose that they believe in. And that's what I believe in.
That's a really powerful story, Ollie. Thanks for sharing. And it touches on to one of the things that I know is counts very much for you is the whole mental health aspect that's often overlooked in the workplace, and especially when it comes to sales. What are some concrete steps that teams who are looking into that could implement based on stuff that you may have done yourself at Salesloft or at LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, for individuals to understand the areas of our role that will stress us out, which is the sort of the mental toughness model that I spoke about, that's a good start. But when it comes to the culture side, I think trying to create one of the key reasons I believe, or two of the key reasons, is people put too much pressure on themselves and people put too much pressure on each other, as in leadership sometimes. So it's making sure that we have it. Sales should be a partnership between the leader and the salesperson to achieve that common goal of their target. And a lot of the time, the leader will only get involved when someone hasn't hit their target, or to celebrate someone hitting their target. And that, to me, is wrong. It should be the partnership that at the beginning they're building a plan of how they're going to achieve their goal together. And that reduces the stress level because it's on both of their shoulders. That if I've decided to take somebody on and worked with and to employ them and worked with them to help them achieve their target, if we don't hit it, it's our problem. It's not their problem. So if then they're not right for the role, then we've got to work out what role would be right for them and how we can improve them or how we can develop them, most of all. So that's one thing, but also people that don't feel that they can be open about their issues at home or outside of work, or even their stress levels within work, that's the biggest thing to me. So I try to create an open environment where in a team meeting we'll regularly have check-ins where we're talking about my highlight for the last 2 weeks, and it comes into the leader showing that they are human, talking about the stresses that they have, what matters to them, and showing them that it's not the be all and end all to be in work. I mean, I don't think humans were designed to just constantly think about work, and it's easy to do, especially in Q4 in sales, to put all your time into work and not take the time out that you are exercising your body and your mind, and doing the things that you want to do. So making sure that you're open and honest, have a good work-life balance, and making sure that everyone can be open about their issues and stresses that they have.
Great. And throughout our conversations, you've drawn a lot of comparisons between the world of sales and the world of sports. And obviously, sales is a bit particular in that, depending how you view it, it can be either a team sport or it can be an individual sport. How do you make sure that the culture you're putting in place in your team is encouraging the right behavior, and what are some of the levers you can play around with to change it?
So, I mean, I 100% believe that sales is a team sport. I think that unless you're running your own company and you're the only person doing something, that anything else is a team sport, because whether you're a team as in 11 people on a pitch or a team as one person running around a track, you have a team behind you and you learn from other people. Those people help you to be your best. So we try to have a very collaborative work environment, that even taking another salesperson on a meeting with you for you to learn how they've done something is making you better at your job. So it's very much around the team environment, I think, that we try to build it here. So whether it's me or somebody else helping out. And if you think of the best footballers in the world, or the best tennis players, most people have a weakness and most people have a strength. But if you can learn from the others that have the strength where you have a weakness, it will make a big difference to you. And I came from a background I did 2 years door-to-door sales, and I went into recruitment, and recruitment is very much a competitive space, even within a company. So you're competing with the person next to you, and that's where I'm trying to make sure I'm the other end of the scale, that we compete as a team, and our success comes as a team, our failure comes as a team, and that's what I'm trying to drive.
Great. Slightly changing the topic just for a moment here, but I was wondering how video fit into your sales strategy and your process at Salesloft.
So we all know that people in sales, face-to-face meetings have more chance of closing. And technology, video conferences mean that if you can't be right in front of somebody, you can still have that common connection, that personalized approach that increases the ratios of getting things closed. I think that a lot of people are talking at the moment around sales is moving to it's all about trust. Trust is easier to build when you're looking somebody in the eye, even if it is video over video. We use video in 2 ways. Our product integrates with video within an email, so we can send videos in emails, and they get a higher open rate, higher reply rate, response rate. But then also when we do meetings, we'll also use video conferencing, and I've used it for years. And I think that if you can't be with somebody face to face in person, then doing a video conference makes a massive difference rather than doing it over the phone. And I mean, the worst is doing it by email. Next level is on the phone. Next level is video conference. Next level is actually face to face.
I like that about how sales is kind of progressing and incorporating more and more technology, and obviously companies like Salesloft are helping a lot in that transition. And there's a lot of resources out there for salespeople to draw on to find inspiration and ideas and how to best use it. In your opinion, what are some of the tips that get shared today that you think are just misguided about how salespeople should be approaching their jobs?
I think for me, I think it's more around leadership and style of people, like being measured on KPIs that are meaningless. And I think that what's happened in sales is that the bar has been raised, okay, because the response rate to emails and calls is not like it used to be. Sales used to be people had less calls. Now you've got PPI calling you every 2 minutes. So what has happened is that the bar has been raised, so that there's 2 ways you can think about that. Do we actually just make more outbound activities and hope that from the 100 calls we used to do where we get talking to 10 people, if we do 200, we get talking to 10 people? Or do we, which reduces the quality of the actual message, or do we actually increase the quality of the message, make it more personalized, make it more specific, but reduce from 100 down to 50? And that is the common problem that people that are coming across at the moment. And it's the awareness or not being aware of the tools out in the market to help with that, and just thinking, well, let's just work as we've always done, but double the outbound activity is not the answer. People just aren't aware of the technology that is out there at the moment. They're just trying to work on old ways to mend things.
Awesome. Well, Ollie, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing some of your insights into sales and sales culture.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, it's been a pleasure. And to those of you watching, thank you for supporting our show. If you want more episodes of 0 to 1, you can head over to bonjour.io/show. And if you like it, you can subscribe, share with your friends, or give us a thumbs up. See you on the next one.